I'm going to try to say this as clear as possible. You are not trying to preserve your race. You are just a racist that likes to have unprotected sex. Something is wrong with y'all because you truly believe that sex just for the sake of it is bad for some reason. So you hide behind saying you're just preserving your race. If you were really doing that, you would be very active against climate change and pollution. But you don't care about that. You don't believe in that. So just say it. Say you're freaky and you hate black people. Say you're freaky and you hate brown people. Say you're freaky and you hate immigrants that are not white. But stop pretending as if you're just trying to preserve your race. You're just a freak. In fact, you've done everything to erase every race from this planet. Just say you're freaky and you're racist and move on with your life.
You know what, Sarah Elizabeth? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, because we don't have to play games with you. We don't have to beat around the bush. You're just telling us like it is. You are a white supremacist and a Nazi who is openly speaking about eugenics and the need for you to have 6, I guess, not children, but repopulation efforts because you're worried about the white race going extinct. I appreciate that openness. I appreciate that willingness to be transparent because at least I know I don't even have to waste my time talking to you or any of your repopulation efforts or your husband or whoever. You know, I just wish that our politicians would behave in the same way because we're still playing this ridiculous game of volleyball that never ends of like, you're a racist. No, I'm not. I have a black friend. Like, you know what I mean? It's like back and forth and back and forth. And it's ridiculous. So, you know what? If you are a Trump supporter, if you think what's going on in this country where people are kidnapping children and then sending them out to another state, never to see their parents again is a good thing. If you are good with people being pew-pewed in the middle of your street, just be more like Sarah Elizabeth. You know, the girl is unafraid to say exactly what she is. A Nazi.
Now, I'm more than sure that we all had the privilege of seeing this Mayflower maiden on here talking about her and her attempts to preserve the white race. And I just want to inform everybody that this is an example of white nationalism. This is someone who believes in the white replacement theory. And I am here to go ahead and fuck up her whole reality. I guess her and her husband's who lay claim to all these inventions. Yeah. We gonna get there. But first and foremost, white people are not an automatic minority. Not globally or in the US. What is happening is that they're not the automatic majority any longer. So-called white dominance is being statistically diluted. That's happening. And what's happening is power that used to be solely in the hands of white people is being slowly but evenly distributed. Although being met with a lot of angry resistance. This is not extinction. White people are not going extinct. They just feel oppressed because they no longer have the monopoly on everything. Nobody's erasing white people except the sun. Y'all just don't have.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are doing great from whatever you're watching me from. Have you ever heard this say, specifically from the Bible, that the stones that were rejected are the stones that are used to build the building? That the stones that the builder used to build the building, those are the stones that were rejected. Symbolically, the stones are black people. See, back then in the 90s, late 80s, 90s, black Americans were seen as genetically not viable, right? They were not seen as good or as genetically viable as white folks. And when you get to understand, this is when eugenics was introduced, and we had people that preferred white than black people. And now, having black kids was a problem, or a white person who wanted to have black kids was a problem. But today, things are turning. As global warming changes and those climatic conditions are happening, we are seeing these affecting population, and the population which is being affected is the white community. The white community is being affected so much. And what we are seeing is an open day insecurity from white people. Why? They are learning and they're understanding that they are getting Day by day, they, are getting less. The white population is getting less. Being wiped out climatically, being wiped out by the changes that are happening in the environment and the things that are happening in the environment. That's what you need to understand. White people are becoming extinct. White people are becoming extinct because of some of environmental biological factors. But this is contrary to black people. Black people are keeping getting more and more and more and more. Why? Because of the melanin. The melanin which God gave black people is like a shield from any change that the world or that the environment might adapt to. Funny thing, there's a case scenario of a white woman who shows her insecurity because the same white woman, she gave birth to 6 kids, expecting the seventh one, saying that she's doing that because she has noticed that the white community is getting extinct. When you get to look at deeply, she is the one who also was responsible for a black man getting jailed. And we know the history of white women with making black men getting jailed. Brothers and sisters, I don't want to say much. I just want you to watch the video and then I'll be back. I'll be sharing my thoughts in regards to this. So let's watch the video. I'll be back.
The final say on everything anymore. Now, this statistic that she shared about 37% of the population and now it's 7 or 35% of the population was white and European and now it's just 7. We're going to get to that. What's happening is cherry picking of the global population shares of Europeans. See, they're pretending that colonial borders didn't change, that birth rates didn't differ by region, and that genocide, slavery, famine, and imperial extinction didn't have a hand in distorting population results. And FYI, Europeans being a smaller population share globally is not European people or white people of European descent being oppressed. Not the same. Because by that logic, indigenous people should be ruling the planet, Africans should own most of the global capital, and Black Americans should have reparations paid with interest. But it's interesting that population share only matters when white people feel oppressed. And look here, Beth Ann, most of these inventions were not European. In fact, these very inventions that you named were built on non-European mathematics, were dependent on colonial extraction, and were advanced through slavery, exploited, and colonial labor. So basically stolen. For example, math is from Africa, India, and the Middle East. Navigation comes from indigenous people. Medicine was stolen from African and indigenous civilizations. Matter of fact, GPS was given to us by Gladys Mae West, this African-American woman right here, who just passed last week at the ripe age of 95. So really, y'all ain't invent shit except racism, and for some reason, y'all just refuse to take claim to that one. What you're doing is intellectual colonialism. And give us Greenland? Really? Hold on, because Greenland is not empty. Greenland is not white land. It's inhabited by Inuit people. It is already dealing with climate collapse caused by guess who? Oh, industrial Western nations. Right. It's giving manifest destiny. Ugh. So this whole thing that Miss Sarah Ann, Susan Beth, whatever, is doing is rebranding the delusion of white supremacy as concern, rebranding fertility as racial duty, and reframing colonization as entitlement and not the violence that it is and always has been. See, this ain't even about these kids. This is about panic. This is about fear. This is the panic about the fact that whiteness is no longer the sun around which the world revolves. So go ahead, Sarah Beth. Go ahead and have your babies. Your little redhead, little red-faced white babies. Just know, the sun ain't gonna like them either. That's all I'm saying.
I found this while scrolling through the new TikTok. Somebody was duetting this dumbass woman who decided to put all 6 of her kids in the video. But because I am a humane human being, I will not do that. But I want you to take a look at it. I have 6 kids, 7 and under, trying to help our minority race from going extinct. White people are a minority race now. All right. I want to show you something else that I found in the comment section of this same fucking video. Oh boy. Y'all can read it. Just pause the whole video and take a read. You ready? Okay. Am I the only one that is currently suffering through MAGA cracker fatigue? I can't possibly be the only one. I just can't. Never in the history of never have more victims from the Caucasian persuasion came out all at the exact same fucking time. Why the fuck? I'm trying to find a way to say this that doesn't really get me banned. All right. Listen. The only reason you motherfuckers think that y'all are going extinct is because you're afraid of being the minority. Because for whatever reason, you have this in your fucking head that we're all going to come after you for vengeance. And there has never been, in the history of the United States, a moment, a time, or a place where we have ever stated with any malice at all whatsoever that we want vengeance. Don't nobody want that shit. Much like you, the only thing we truly want is to be left the fuck alone. That's it. That's the post, kids. Yet for some fucking reason, it's Donald Trump. I know the fucking reason. Just go with me, please. For whatever reason, that seems to be something that is difficult for y'all to even understand. Why? How the fuck should I know? How in the fuck should I know? I don't know. But y'all cannot get over this, oh my God, they're coming for us, fucking mentality. Don't nobody want to come for y'all. We are not studying y'all. We really ain't. This woman got on the internet and said that she's trying to repopulate her minority race. Every time I ask this question, people laugh at me or they act as though I'm making this up, and I'm not. Can somebody find a map and show me the country of white? And before you get ready to come at me with where's the country of black, you're literally proving my point. By you asking that stupid ass question, you just proved my point. Where is the country of white? How many wars have white won? How many technological advances have come from the country of white? I'm guessing zero, because the country of white does not fucking exist. It doesn't. Y'all have sacrificed every ounce of your ethnicity just so that you can be white. And what exactly have you gotten for that? What the fuck have you actually accomplished for that? What? What have you gotten? Nothing. Nothing. You sacrifice Scandinavian. You sacrifice German. You sacrifice European, Belgian, Polish, Ukrainian, Russian, Scottish, Irish. So you threw all of that away, all of that history away, all of that culture away, just so that you can come here and say, I'm proud to be white. And since your mindset is they coming for my shit, you had to find a boogeyman in people with this color skin as black. Coffee brown, lightly creamed. Black. If you are a white woman and a white man and y'all are having kids to repopulate the world with your fucking whatever the fucks, do you understand y'all will die one day? Somewhere in the motherfucking future, either your kid or your grandkid is going to fall in love with somebody that don't look like a white person. They're going to fall deeply in love. They're going to be disowned by the children you're bringing out in this world because you're teaching them, oh my God, will be the minority, stay away from the Negroes and the people that speak Spanish. They're going to fall in love. They're going to get married, and they're going to have kids. And those kids will carry 50% of their DNA and 50% their spouse's DNA. And heaven fucking forbid their spouse's coffee brown, lightly creamed. You're going to end up with a biracial grandchild somewhere in your lineage. And your dumbass is going to do what everybody else does. You're going to disown your child for falling in love with somebody that wasn't a white person. You're going to miss out on raising your kids and your grandkids because you couldn't get over that racial fucking inferiority shit. You're going to pal around and hang out with some of the worst motherfuckers on the planet who all just so happen to be white. You run a stronger risk of one of those nasty white supremacist motherfuckers doing something to one of your children. And all for what? For what? Because you're proud to be white? A nationality that don't exist, from a country that don't exist, has no culture because it don't exist, has no history because it don't exist. And you will continue to look at anybody like me in the light of, well, we're black, and therefore we must be the enemy. You're going to dig up every racist trope that your great-great-great-grandfather was using back in the fucking day, instead of using whatever the fuck is inside of that shell you call a head and learning to live with others. And why? Because you believe that when white people, or if white people are the minority, they're somehow going to feel the vengeance of people who ain't looking for vengeance. We're just looking for you to leave us the fuck alone. How in the fuck can you be superiors thinking like that? How? The stupidity on this is so thick. I don't know if you can cut it. I think you need Voltron's blazing sword to do it. I do. The master race, kids. The fucking master race.
You've been doing it our whole life, and it's getting old. It's getting real old, man. So get it out your system, then sit down and shut the up.
You call me evil, but unfortunately for you, I'm a necessary evil.
Remember Sarah and Joel Tenney, who accused a black man of randomly walking up to them and threatening to unalive their baby? And then behind the scenes, we heard Sarah coach him to say wife and baby. And then it was white girl and white baby. The story kept changing. They managed to have him arrested for making violent threats with zero evidence, and unfortunately, he's still fighting the case. In the meantime, people were poking holes in their stories because they weren't making any sense. Joel went private. Sarah got deplatformed. But they were adamant that this was not about race, and they are not racist. Well, great news for Sarah. She's back on TikTok, so I wanted to see what this not racist wife was up to these days. Let's check out this God-fearing woman's content, shall we? Hold up. Families like ours are disappearing. Birth rates are plummeting. Caucasians, let's start having large families again like our ancestors did to stop our unique race from disappearing. In just 80 years, we went from 35% of the world's population to just 7%. Okay, so she changed the math a little bit. If things don't change, we are predicted to go extinct. I have 6 kids, 7 and under, trying to help our minority race from going extinct. And she changed the math again. The peace sign is crazy. The British are unaliving all their white babies. This is sickening and heartbreaking. In the United States of America, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore? What? We are done being discriminated against for being white. It's bad enough that that black man still has to fight this case because at this point, they're not beating any of these allegations. One thing is for sure though, there's no hate like Christian love. So there's been some updates with these two and it gets much, much worse because it becomes blatantly obvious that they're trying to pull some more Emmett Till setup type shit. As I always do, I'm gonna run it back to the first video and I'm gonna stick around to point some things out.
So this guy just said he wanted to murder our baby as we were walking past. And now they're gonna put him under arrest. He said, I'm gonna murder your wife and baby.
Yeah, he literally said that. This guy right there, when we're walking past.
So we're gonna press charges.
He said he wanted to kill our white baby. How sick can people be? This is disgusting. I'm completely outraged. You can't even walk down the streets of Washington, D.C. without people acting like this. Thank God we reported it to the police and they're dealing with the guy. I cannot believe this right now. Don't bring your kids down here. It's not safe.
Don't bring your kids to D.C.
It's not safe at all.
Last night, while heading home from Joe's Seafood on 1500 Pennsylvania Avenue, 1 block from the White House, a black man approached my wife and my baby and I and said, I'm gonna kill your white girl. I'm gonna kill your effing white baby. And he repeated it many times, and then he continued to call my wife a white B-word multiple times. And I had half a mind to stomp his head in, but instead I went to the Secret Service, which was a block away from us, and I told them what he had said. The man was subsequently arrested, and he has now been brought on charges by the U.S. Attorney General's office, felony charges for felony threats and hate and bias crime.
And also, we found out later that he had a knife in his pocket, so that was extremely terrifying.
So this is unbelievable. This shouldn't be happening in the capital of the United States of America. Families like ours should feel safe. We have 5 other children at home that were with grandma luckily that night. We're not even from here, we're from Iowa. And to have to suffer that after losing our friend Charlie Kirk, who I worked for, and then this, it's unbelievable. And America, you need to do better. Racism, reverse racism, it's all wrong, it's all evil. Turn to Jesus, believe the gospel, repent of your sins, be renewed in your mind, in your thinking. Love one another, love your neighbor as yourself, as Jesus commands. We need to seek God. This is not acceptable.
Get a load of that smile when the video ends. Let's move on.
So my understanding is that you would like us to charge this as a hate crime from the beginning, and so because you were starting to talk about facts of the case, as I explained earlier, I cannot talk about facts of the case without an officer witness on the line. So let me ask you real quickly. So the facts that I understood were that he threatened to kill you, Sarah, and your quote-unquote white baby. Is that correct?
Yes. He said he's going to kill. He said he was speaking to me. He said, I'm going to kill your girl and your effing white baby.
Okay.
And then he repeatedly called my wife a white B-word. And it was for 100% a hate crime. If I would have said that to a black man, his wife and baby...
Sir, I'm going to stop you right here. I appreciate where you are going with this. I in no way, shape, or form disagree with you that this sounds like a hate crime. But I want to explain to you how our process works.
Okay.
So.
And then they cut the video off because things are not going in the direction that they hoped for. They try to spew their rhetoric, and this woman was not having it. So shout out to her for doing her job. Let's move on. Okay, this is the most recent one, and I want you all to pay very close attention to everything they say down to the caption in this video, because they are so outrageously frustrated that they don't even realize they're telling on themselves.
Bias. Okay.
Yeah.
And then.
So these will be felony threats with a hate bias enhancement. And so what that does is that changes the possibility, the way we, the possibility of sentencing, the kind of plea that's given, plea offer. You know, I don't have any knowledge of a violent history, not at this time, but let me actually, 1 second. I would have to do some digging into his history in order to be able to.
You might have to do a little research because you got about an hour and a half, and if this guy is a violent offender, hold on, you don't have to give us any information, but if this guy is a violent offender and there is some legal precedent to hold him, then he needs to be held because he could be a danger to the public, and he could go and stab some baby. He could kill some baby. You know? That's not safe to have people like that are that unhinged on the streets in our capital city of the United States of America.
A block from the
president. A block from the White House. We were on 1500 Pennsylvania. That's insane.
I do not. I would love to have a conversation with you about it, but I honestly cannot. And like I said, if I have a legal basis to ask for him to be held, I will ask for him to be held. At this time, I don't know of a legal basis for me to ask for him to be held.
Well,
which means the court doesn't have a legal basis to hold him.
Well, Barb, do some digging. That's all I'm going to say, because if he gets out and he does something, I swear this is going to be very bad for everybody. Very bad for everybody. It's not going to be good for the district. It's not going to be good for the U.S. Attorney's Office. It's not going to be good. It's going to be national public television. Everybody's going to know about it. I literally know President Trump personally. It's not a good situation. I shouldn't have to feel like my wife is going to be killed and my baby is going to be killed, and then some violent offender gets released back on the streets of Washington, D.C.
And we don't even know his criminal background.
We don't know. We don't know who we're dealing with here, so we don't feel safe.
What if it's the same thing like the guy in North Carolina, where they let him out 14 times, and then he goes and kills somebody? That guy should not have been on the streets, and I don't think this person should be on the streets either.
Listen, you seem like a really nice lady, Barb, and I know there's more that you guys can do. So I'm hoping that you guys will figure out something.
I mean, even a mental asylum, like, is there a mental hospital he can go to or something?
Or a homeless shelter or something. Something to keep him away from people.
I hear you.
Any questions?
A MAGA couple in D.C. just pulled a Carolyn Bryant this week and got an innocent man arrested because they lied, claiming that this man threatened their lives.
So this guy just said he wanted to murder our baby as we were walking past, and now they're gonna put him under arrest. He said, "I'm gonna murder your wife and baby."
Yeah, he literally said that. This guy right there, when we're walking past.
So we're gonna press charges.
He said he wanted to kill our white baby. How sick can people be? This is disgusting. I'm completely outraged. You can't even walk down the streets of Washington, D.C. without people acting like this. Thank God we reported it to the police and they're dealing with the guy.
So what's the actual story, Joel Tenney and Sarah Elizabeth? Was it white baby or wife and baby? Because that kind of distinction does not go unnoticed. And you know what else doesn't go unnoticed? A third different story than the one in the actual video when the incident had just occurred, when it was very fresh in you and your wife's mind. Your recap of words was very different than your wife's in the video. And in your caption on Instagram, it's also very different on what it is that the man said to you or that you claim he said to you. to you. The fact that you mentioned that you weren't allowed to carry your 2A lets me know that you were looking to see a deceased black person that night. But unfortunately, you didn't get your wish, did you? Because the reality is, Joel, you're no victim, you're a clout chaser. You are a fanatic looking to incite violence in my city.
Last night, while heading home from Joe's Seafood on 1500 Pennsylvania Avenue, 1 block from the White House, a black man approached my wife and my baby and I and said, "I'm going to kill your white girl. I'm going to kill your effing white baby." And he repeated it many times, and then he continued to call my wife a white B-word multiple times. And I had half a mind to stomp his head in.
And then you got upset when you found out that this innocent man did not have a previous record.
I don't have any knowledge of a violent history, not at this time, but let me actually, 1 second. I would have to do some digging into his history in order to
You might have to do a little research because you got about an hour and a half, and if this guy is a violent offender, hold on, you don't have to give us any information, but if this guy is a violent offender and there is some legal precedent to hold him, then he needs to be held because he could be a danger to the public and he could go and stab some baby. He could kill some baby.
There's 2 things you missed in this scenario, Joel. The first one being filing a false police report and then getting an innocent man arrested. And number 2, you thought this man was so disposable that putting on the internet that you would never think that this man has community. Well, I have another thought for you. Not only does this man indeed have community, but we will find every single bit of evidence that is necessary to get you and your wife charged. And like you guys, Joel and Sarah Elizabeth, I like using social media too, but I'm also boots on the ground with folks who are heavily within the court system. And while you probably thought that there was no one in the world that would keep that man safe, we keep him safe.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you're doing great from whatever you're watching me from. So, it is happening, and we are envisioning the insecurity. We are envisioning the insecurity that these people have, and it's being shown during daytime. We are seeing these things happening, brothers and sisters. They are happening in real time, and you need to understand this as a black person, that whatever you have, like the melanin, keeps on protecting you. So brothers and sisters, I'm going to be reading a couple of comments in regards to this because we have seen an insecurity, and these people are trying so much to slow down the black population. But guess what? This is what God himself has decided. You cannot control that, right? So somebody is saying that vengeance is not coming from black people in and out of America, but it's coming from the Lord of the universe. Stop it. That's what we really need to focus on. The creator of the universe, the end. Yeah. Some people understand that this is part of the divine judgment. The judgment that was once promised to America. The judgment that was to happen to Americans. That's the divine judgment. And that's what is happening exactly to these people. So I really don't know what this is. But somebody's saying, if it was that black man, I'd sue the both of them for defamation and filing a false police report. Somebody also said that exactly what Dr. Francis Cress-Welsing was talking about in the Cress theory. Yeah, it's true. And it's all coming to be truth. It's all coming to be truth. You cannot have get away with doing away with black people because the genes of black people, they are so strong. Remember, a black person can give birth to a baby who looks like white, but a white person cannot give birth to a baby that looks black phenotypically. So this tells you all. This tells you what we are saying is true. Somebody's saying that what I find most interesting is that they both had cell phones, but they didn't bother to take them out and actually record the scary black man who was supposedly threatening them They waited to cross the street and then make the allegations. The spirit of colony brand strikes again. So sad that it is happening in the 21st century. Somebody is saying that the melanated people was on this earth before pale skin and will be here after. Non-white people procreating is not erasure of another race or nation. If this sun turns up a little more, how will pale skin survive on daily? Yeah. Somebody saying also that they are still going extinct no matter how many babies they have, and the lying couple who made those false claims ought to be on the wall of shame. I hope they get exactly what they deserve. I also hope they get exactly what they deserve, because when you get to look at history, we have seen a lot of innocent black male go to jail because of some mistakes that or misunderstanding that could be solved easily. Somebody says that some people want the attention of social media at any cost. For one, we don't talk like that. They saw an opportunity to be noticed and want attention. Does he fight? Does he fight that hard for all little children who are murdered in school? No, probably no. But he's fighting to add some who looks like them. Somebody saying that it's sad that those poor kids will be raised to be stupid and ignorant. They are being raised to believe lies and disinformation. What is even more miserable is they will all also know that they were not born out of love, but out of hate for other races. That's so shameful. Somebody saying that this wife is not showing any emotions after so-called attempt to talk her baby. It's totally a contrived lie against this man who had no previous record with the law. That's allegedly, right? He said he had half a mind to stomp his head, but not heart to even say that to the man's face. He would have gotten rigged. That's so scary. Somebody said that white people hate us with action and convincing to destroy us, but all we do is complain, then accepting and adapting. That's why they still violating in 2026 and will never respect us. Somebody saying that she don't have to worry because they won't be going extinct until the next 1,000 years is over with. And even then, they are not going to be going extinct, but they are going to be just totally evaporated off by the planet Earth. Thanks to Yahweh and his sons Yahawashi, never to be seen again. So all this is going on right now, and we are getting to see this in real time. These things are happening. See, I just want to know, because this is a big time insecurity that we are seeing on display. There's an insecurity that black people are still around, and they'll do anything to reduce ours and add theirs. But nature has a way of controlling everything, because nature is the biggest equalizer of all time. So brothers and sisters, please let me know what you think about this video. And I'm rooting for you all black folks from wherever you're watching me from. And as you know, I'm your host and presenter Eugenics stories. But until then, I'm hoping to see you on my next video. Peace, love, and harmony. Salute.